Let me know if you can hear and see me. It's not coming up on my computer that I'm live yet. Oh, there we go. I'm just on a laptop tonight, so it's a bit more blurry. Can't change that. Hopefully you can hear me all right though. Got Rochi on and Wixie. Nice. I was sitting there, I've just come in about 7:30, been outside most of the day doing jobs, and I thought, stuff it. I'm done for the day. I thought, no one's going on YouTube, I'll go on. Hotter than Devil's Nutsack, 100%. Hey Terry. Hey Susie. Yeah, it's been bloody hot down here. It was 43 today with a hot wind. It just started to die off a bit, but still the wind's still there. It's hot, but it's not as hot as what it was. It's supposed to be a cool change coming in and drops down to 26 tomorrow. But yesterday was 42 as well. And naturally, the 2 days that I had to go and do stuff outside were the 2 hot days. So I was going between the front and the back of the house. The back of the house was in the shade. I'll do the stuff out there, and vice versa. So I'm rat shit. And Rochi would know all about that. He's been out in the heat as well. Doesn't matter whether it's a night or a day, doing his job will be bloody hot. Especially last night and tonight. Oh, it cooled down a little bit last night for a bit, and then the wind died off. It's hot as buggery. Hey, Robin. What have you guys been up to today? I actually haven't. I know it's only somewhat early, it's just after 8 o'clock here, but I haven't heard many people partying or anything. I've seen a few people in their pools and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's too hot for them outside to party, and they just let stuff and sit in the aircon. Oh, that's rough. I've just moved out with my dad in a 100-year-old house. He doesn't have any aircon either. So that's not where I am at the moment, but yeah, bugger that. Sweet F4. Yeah, I think it's pretty hot everywhere at the moment. So, unless you got a pool, but sometimes it's even too hot for a pool, 43 down here. You're better off going in and staying in the aircon during the day and then going overnight. It was hotter the night before last night. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I think it was 37 or 30. It was still hot that day. And it was only probably, a couple of weeks ago, we didn't have a lot of heat, but the humidity was just unbelievable. It was like a week of it felt like 100% humidity. You're just sweating nonstop, which is not what we usually get down here too much. Terry went up to Phil's and he worked me too hard in the heat. What sort of stuff were you doing? Bring on winter. Yeah, I must admit, growing up when I was younger, I always preferred summer, even though I've got the wrong skin for it. But I think it was mainly because of the longer days and of a night time, except for these really hot days, you could go out and it'd be really nice. Whereas now I used to hate winter, whereas I'm a bit more used to it now, and I don't mind it because then you can have a fire and whatnot. Mind you, the short days when you get up and it's basically dark, come back and it's dark, that gets a bit old. Hey, Steve and Annie. Winnie had a pretty cool little shirt. If you didn't see it before, go and have a look. That was awesome. Nothing better than dogs with clothes. I'd sooner look at pictures of dogs and puppies than babies any day of the week. Susie's gone to Evans Head Beach this morning, then back to Grand Sister for a swim in the pool, and back to the house. Going to stay at Evans Head tomorrow night in the caravan. Does your caravan have aircon? I've been looking at caravans at the moment. Sort of anywhere from that 15 to 18 foot mark. And one of the things is obviously an air conditioner. And growing up, we had a family caravan that we shared with cousins, etc. And the first one was an old, oh gosh, must have been a 70s or something Viscount. It didn't have an aircon, but most of the time at the coast it wasn't too bad. And the next one they got was a Jayco, must have been like a 97 model pop top, and it had had a double bed, and above the double bed had one of the square box aircons, and it was really good. So it's one thing I'm looking at, because I'm mainly looking at older caravans anywhere, sort of from the 80s to the 2000. Like I'm looking up to 2010, but after that they start to get a bit expensive. But about just retrofitting a aircon, I don't know how big of a fan I am of, if I have to do it, put one in the roof. Just leaks, I think. I'm cuddling a cold pack. What's he up to? He wants to put a winch in the roof to take his rooftop tent. Oh, like as in the roof of the garage or the carport, on and off the car. That's a good idea. You wouldn't need. You could probably get one of those ones from Bunnings. They're only $100, $200 or whatever. Gorilla brand. If you didn't want an actual electric winch, you could always even just pulleys. You could do it with pulleys. But it's probably easier because there's still a bit of weight in that, especially his one. We're vampires. Only come out at night at the moment. I know. I wish that's what I could do. But the problem is I've got so many jobs to do around the house at the moment. And with it's one thing that sucks about living in town, noise restriction. So ideally you'd go out now when it's cooler. But come 8 o'clock, you can't have power tools. 7 o'clock today because it was a public holiday. So that's pretty much been most of the last week, every day on the sanding, drilling, cutting. I'll put a photo up. I'm almost finished the fence and looks pretty good. Well, I think so anyway. But yeah, I'll put a few photos up. I've just been sanding the deck at the moment. So I've probably got another 3 days to go. What's that? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then back to work Tuesday. So I'm hoping to have most of it done by then. I'm just going to go to Bateman's Bay tomorrow. It's cool there. How long does it take you to get down there, Rochi? I think I've only been past there once, really. Yeah, Terry loves his caravan with aircon. I remember talking to Terry about him, and I was asking about the whole ensuite setup and with toilet shower. And I went and had a look at a few different ones, and the problem I found is not that I'm tall, like I'm only 6 foot, but I found the shower's a bit short, too cramped for me. So I think if I get one, I'll just go to somewhere and use amenities, or have a swing out one on the vehicle or the caravan. Like those I've got one, a kick-ass one. I do admit though, like the toilet could be a handy thing, but what I've seen a few of them do on the island bed in the middle, that a lot of them have a drawer that comes out, and you can put a toilet there. I know it's a bit weird, but if it's just you in there, who cares really? Yeah, even though I've been outside, I've been putting the dogs inside. Even though they want to come out with me, I'm like, no, it's too hot for them. They just start panicking. I'm like, no, you can stay inside. And they've been just on the lounge most of the day. I just put the blinds up so they can see me. Because if I don't, they'll go around and they'll get into who knows what. So at least there they just sit and watch me. Hey Jenny, happy Australia Day to you as well. What did you get up to? Yeah, 6 hours. That's not too bad. Get up at 6, you're there by midday, thereabouts. It's one thing that is quite good now. Like if you want to go to a lot of places that seem quite far away, like it's still a bit of a trip, but it's definitely doable. Like I remember going down to Canberra, and that was like a full day slog. Whereas now, 5.5 hours on a good run, sort of, it's quite good. Oh, wrong one. The shower is hot in summer and cold in winter. We call ours the chiller. That's the other thing. It wasn't a super hot day when I went in, but and so in the caravans, because I was checking out hard tops and pop tops, and So yeah, it wasn't super hot, but when I went into the shower because I was testing out the size and everything, they were friggin' hot as. And that's the other thing that put me off it. I thought no. But yeah, anyway, a lot of the other thing too for me is that looking at some of the older caravans, they're not that heavy. As soon as you start, because I wouldn't have a big, I'm looking at just getting a two-wheel drive highlights, so I wouldn't have as much towing capacity. So I'm looking at something a bit smaller, and as soon as you put an ensuite and everything on it, it puts the weight up a lot. So that's what sort of put me off the ensuite thing. If I get a caravan and I really like it and I want to then go more off-grid stuff, then I could always look at just selling it and get another one. But that's I put everything on pause at the moment for that one. Wait until maybe wait until after Easter. They might be a bit cheaper. I found out 2 days ago I've shrunk from 4'11" to 4'9". Was a bit disappointed. Oh well, you wouldn't have the problem in the shower then, in the caravan. It's always bonuses for being short. I noticed because I'm not tall, but I'm taller than my brothers, and one of my brothers is quite short. And we'll be doing something, and he'll completely miss it, and I'll just hit my head on it, not thinking, because I'm just following. So Robin, you would recommend the shower toilet in a van? Yeah, I'd love to go and borrow hire one for a week, because I think you got to take it for more than just a weekend. But then I'm sort of like the cost of it. Yeah. My other thought was it might be one that I share with family. I sort of thought, I don't know. I'd probably like a 16-footer, maybe 17. I like the ones with the double queen bed. I don't know what they are. They're sort of an in-between. Island bed down the back, kitchen at the front. I don't want an oven in it. Actually, to be honest, even though they've all got it, I wouldn't even want a stove in there, because you'd just go induction anyway, and you just get your thing out and put it on top. That frees up a lot more room. And then, so in the middle, you could have a seats facing opposite, or a bit of an L shape with a bench thing opposite, and you put a bit of stuff on. Or you can have a kitchen in the middle and the seats at the front. But I like the kitchen at the front, away from the bed, near the door and the windows a bit better. Couple of beers today and a few goodies in the smoker. Yeah, I should have. Next time, this was just doing a live feed at the last minute for the sake of doing it, because no one else was. Next time, I might put a few of your photos up of what you do, but I'll leave it up to you whether you want me to or not. Because Rochi and I get to see them all the time, and they're bloody good. I wonder if there would be much water in the wash pools at the moment, Rochi. I know around here everything's dried up pretty well. I'm one of our vans. I remember, because we used to, what we'd do, we'd take it over to, say, Hawk's Nest or something like that. And one family would use it for a week, then the next family would use it for the week. And it had a gas oven in it. And I remember, because we were there for the week and we weren't really doing much, I did do a cook up in it. And it went all right. But now I think you've got so many better options, like a Weber or a Ziggy. You've got those really good butane cookers now, and plus you can also put those Winnowell fast fold ovens, whatever they're called, on there. And so you've got ovens that way, and they're outside. I just like the idea of, one, that you're actually sitting outside cooking, because that's where for me, that's where I'd want to spend most time outside, probably under your awning or whatever. Inside's for crap weather or bed. So yeah, you can cook out there while you're talking to other people, and any smokes or smells or whatever is just outside. Tell you what, I'd be definitely keen to get away soon. Rochi, Anthony Wicks, and I'm going to put it on. Maybe during the week, I might put it on Legends for Charity page or something like that. Rochi, Anthony Wicks, and their partners and I, we're going to Barrington for a couple of nights, going to different spots, having a look around. And so, yeah, I'll put it up there. If anyone's interested, it'll be towards the end of February, but I'll put all that information up. Might put it up and then see if there's any interest and do a little live feed. Yeah, maybe only a trickle there. Yeah, I don't think there'd be much. Especially, yeah. Robin, we cook outside when we're camping, but if we're traveling, we cook inside. Interesting. Do you keep do you change what sort of meals you have? Because one thing I've thought about is if you had a microwave or a real easy thing that you can basically cook up at home and have like frozen meals or prepared meals, and then you just heat them up or make it a lot simpler. So one thing I've just started to do is think a bit more ahead of what I'm going to be cooking. And because what I used to do is I just go to the shop on my way camping, go to the shops, grab it, put it in, and then go. But you end up with so much rubbish when you're camping. And it's annoying having heaps of rubbish in your vehicle because usually, that's if you're off grid. Whereas now I'm trying to cut back on the waste, do it more prep at home. Hey mate, just jumping in to say a quick hello. Thank you, Dreaded Chef. Hope all is well. Haven't seen you in the chats or anything much lately. I went back and actually must have been just before Christmas, and I was watching some of your videos. Did you ever get that your rub thing set up? I think last time you heard either you or Buck was saying about that you pretty much have it ready or something like that. You just got to work out how to mark it or something. Be keen to know a bit more about that. So Jenny, you had a caravan 11 months, ended up selling it. Were you just doing weekend type trips though, or did you do bigger ones, or you just weren't using it? Because I'm thinking of going straight. You know how they usually say swag tent, camper trailer, or rooftop tent, camper trailer, then caravan. I'm thinking going straight to the caravan, but then still doing swag or tent camping. Here we go. Challenge with the rubs is finding a cost-effective commercial space to manufacture them. Yeah. I haven't tried any yet. I've eaten food where people have used it. It's one of those things I'm interested in. You found you didn't use as much. Was it on-road, off-road, caravan? And is the reason you didn't use it just because you didn't go away, or it was just more of a hassle to take, or you couldn't take it where you wanted to go? I love swags, but I'm not claustrophobic. I've got a single swag and the Big Daddy Deluxe one. But I just find the Big Daddy Deluxe is heaps more comfortable, and just having a bit more space, it doesn't get as hot. And it's easy to get changed in that if you have to, rather than the single one. It's just so big, and I don't want to just strap it to the roof. Extra wind drag and stuff, but as soon as I put it in the vehicle, which I can, it's just so bloody big. If I had a ute or something, which I'm trying to get to that stage soon, it'd be much better. I'm actually looking at now going back to a tent, the old single pole in the middle, like TP type tents. They weigh a bit and take up a little bit of room, but just quick and easy. And then you've got a bit of room if the weather's crap. Yeah, no, all good, Ryan. Hey, Buck. Hopefully you're having a good day up there. And I was checking your Facebook feed before to see where the cyclone was up to. I could have gone on and checked other weather things, but I thought, nah, I'll wait for Mr. Buck to give you his update. So you had a semi off road, and yeah, we found it's much of a hassle to tow it because it was a heavy van. It didn't feel like camping to us. And see, that's why I'm looking at these older ones. I went over to the coast not long ago, and I just stayed in it. I was just swagging it in a caravan park for the night. And I went around, because my favourite thing about the caravan park is going around checking everyone's setups. And 90% of the caravans were your big flashy ones, like the new ones. Most of them were new age, but they're friggin' massive. Like in every single way, they're massive. And and naturally, they had their big cruisers and everything to tow them, which I can't afford that to get a big tow vehicle. Not that I'd want to personally tow something that big. And then I stopped and I chatted to this guy who had it. I think it was a Viscount Grand Tour or something. It's like an 83 model or something like that. And it was awesome. And it weighed, its tear was like 900 kilos for a 15 and a half footer or something like that. And so you're looking at, even by the time you might put a bit of stuff in it, plus you still got your vehicle put a bit of stuff in it. But that's, even if you say you're towing a ton or even up to 1.2, that's not too bad. I definitely wouldn't want to be, so like the Hilux Utes I'm looking at, 2-wheel drive, they can tow 2.5 or 2.7. So if I'm sitting at 1.2, sweet. I don't want to be going up to these heavy vans. They just be a pain in every single way, I reckon. Like if I'm towing up hills, like if I'm going out, not out west because it gets flat out there, but quite a lot of places around here gets quite hilly. Like I don't want to be, if I have a light caravan, not that I'm going to be going 100 k's an hour, but it'd be just nice to sort of go right up the hills and everything. Where are we up to here? Cyclone was a fizzer, absolutely nothing, which is a good thing. That's interesting because last time I think you put up yesterday that it was going from a Cat 2 to a Cat 3 and then nothing. Hopefully, so does that mean you're not going to get the rain and everything like happened at Jasper? Because it turned out to be a fizzer and then all shit went cut loose when all the rain happened. So what did it even cross as a tropical cyclone, or was it just what do they call it, tropical low or something? Can't remember. We don't get those because we're not in the tropics. Oh, so yours was a 13-foot. You see, I went and had a look at an Austrac showroom because they're one of the, probably for the hybrid caravans, like those hybrid off-road caravans. I reckon Austrac is probably the most common one. I haven't looked into them all to see where they're made, etc. And look, I looked at them and thought, geez, they're pretty good. Like you're getting a lot in there. And then I looked at it, could have been the 13-footer, whatever the smallest one was, because I'm thinking, oh, whichever's the smallest would be the cheapest and the lightest. And I've got a feeling it was around 2 tons. That could have been, I think that might have included the lithium setup and a few other things in there too. But I'm like, well, they're things you're going to be taking. I'm like, 2 tons for 13 foot. Oh, that's crazy. When I can get yes, it's older and it's not an off-road one, but I can get a 16-foot Viscount or Millard or one of those, anything pre-2000 basically, and they're half the weight for similar size. And see, a lot of people also get those old caravans. They do them up and because they don't have their clearance isn't the greatest if you are going off-road or through ditches or whatever. But you can modify that. Heaps of people do. I just can't get over 2 tons for a 13-foot caravan. I'm pretty certain that's what it said in the showroom. Ooh, where's Mr. Turtle? Hey, the turtle is on. Hopefully all is well up there, Mr. Turtle. Oh, someone must be walking past. The scruffers are all over it. Oh, I didn't expect so many people to come on, but thank you for joining in. If anyone wants to, I'm on StreamYard, so if you want to join in, you can. I can send you an invite. I've got no plans of how long I was going to be on or anything. I didn't really expect many or anyone to join in. I thought you'd all be off doing your own parties. Most cyclone track maps end up looking like a bowl of spaghetti. 1 second, I better let these scruffers out so they can go and bark at whatever it is. There they go. Probably someone just walking past or whatever. It's one good thing about, I've got 2 dogs. They're both small dogs. One's got the little yap yap bark, and the other one's got a deeper bark, like a bigger dog. And the good thing is, if anyone comes past, they can't see the dogs, not really, but you can hear them. So one of them, it sounds like a bigger dog, so I think it tends to keep people away. We say it hit Cat 3 offshore, but went to Cat 2 north of Townsville. Small damage in Townsville, minimal rain compared to last cyclone. We escaped lightly. Innisfail got nothing. Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely intensifying. Then, it's the best way for it to be. Sorry, I missed here. Susie's up. All right, see you, Susie. Thank you for joining in. Maybe next time, Landy. We'll see. We'll see. Actually, I had a thought. I've been thinking this for a while. Tell me what you think. Mainly, like just starting off with people from the Legends community of using StreamYard. StreamYard is just like Zoom or Skype back in the day, and just starting off with just a men's chat group, and just as a tester, just to see, because I know there's people who don't want to go on YouTube Live, which is fine. I get that. Come on. This is the big guard dog. Yeah, so a lot of people don't want to come on live and everything, but I did wonder about doing a group chat thing where you can get on and talk about anything or whatever, and like you have topics or not. I was thinking just as a starter, up to 8 people. Only reason up to 8 people at a time is just because I think if you start getting more, it's hard to get a word in. And if people it's harder to gauge when someone's going to speak in a chat room than in real life. So it might get a bit messy. But yeah, I just thought that might be I don't know if anyone thinks it's a good idea or interested in doing it, but I just thought as a way of people catching up if people I don't know, whether they maybe don't have a lot of friends at the time or just feel like talking or having some sort of interaction. Can be a bit of a mental health thing, whether you're checking in to see whether someone's all right or if they want to offload a bit of something, or sometimes it's good if you're not feeling 100% just to have some distraction conversation as well. Because I know that like a few people on here know I'm not going through such a great time at the moment. And like Terry G, Anthony Wicks, and Roach have been messaging me quite a lot, and that's helped, heaps. I just thought, that might help others as well. And it doesn't have to be, it can be just a chat. It could be talking absolute shit like you would around a campfire. Because one thing I love and hate about the community, I love all the people from it, but I hate that I can't catch up with everyone because some of them are just too far away. So it'd be real like this, Trev Kelly, we send each other messages, but geez, it'd be great to actually, I wish we could catch up more. And it's just not possible because of the distance. But maybe something like that, getting on and having a chat, talk absolute crap if you want. So yeah, my first thought was just a guys thing, just because I think sometimes it's handy just to have guys chatting with other guys, but obviously that was just as a tester, and then have opportunities where it's just open to everyone. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and if you're interested, or whether you think, nah, don't worry about it. And it could be one of those things, like it could be like I've got all the time in the world of a night time. Where you're like, all right, this week it's going to be this day, or it could be the same day every week for a while. And if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. Anyway, just going to catch up on some of the comments. Yeah, Chinese vans are made of lead. Yeah, 100%. They're freaking heavy as. Yeah, it's funny. I was watching. It was your live feed the other day, I think, Buck, and you're talking about how Drifter were getting into the caravans. And just as you said it, I was thinking, I'm like, oh, more in the market that we don't need. It's a bit like, in a way, all the 4-drive utes. It's like, how many utes do we need? They all look the same basically and do the same thing, because now there's other ones coming in from China. I'm like, oh, we've already got enough. Treasure Chef, let's see. Support people through challenges is literally what I do. Don't ever be afraid to flick me a message. Good to know, Ryan. Thank you very much. There have been a few others that I've have been talking to as well. Rob Richmond, him and I have been having a bit of a chat, and that's helped as well. But yeah, sometimes it is just that quick chat and knowing that there's other people out there that either might be going through something similar, or who have gone through something similar, or just as a distraction. Yeah, that's why the Legends Camp will be so good. Everyone will get a chance to catch up and have a beer. I am booked in for 3 nights or 3 days or whatever it is. I'm going to change that, and I'm going to long service leave that one, and I think I'm going to put a night either side of the event. That way I don't have the pressure of packing up and everything while I want to go and talk to people, and I can give myself a bit of time to get up there and back as well. Because for yours, Buck, I went from Singleton to Gympie in one go, and I think I pulled in at the rest stop at Gympie at because my lights stopped working just south of Gympie, and I had to in the actual switch, the power to the switch, which then goes to the lights, it stopped working. It must have shorted out something. I don't know. So what I had to do, I had my 12-volt power socket behind me. I had to take it off, take the power from that, and I had it going over my shoulder and into the light switch, headlight switch, so it could get 12-volt power to it. So then I had headlights again. But yeah, and then I went on. But on the way back, I drove 13.5 hours straight. I think I left up there. I think I left around 9:30 from Riverheads, and I think I got home at 2, 3 in the morning. It was too much. So I'm going to take my time. Even though this one's closer, I'm going to take my time. Hey, Phil. Hope all is well. Terry was just saying that you're putting in a winch for your rooftop tent so you can take it off. Good idea. I think it's if you can do that, if you're not using it 100% all the time, having that, well, saves weight and it being out in the sun all the time. And if you're just going around shops or whatever, you don't need it on there. I also have an idea of that sort of thing as well. I've been working out the finer details over the last few months, as I am, and have some people in my life currently doing it tough. Cool. So, yeah, it sounds like there might be a few people interested in doing that. I might try. I'm really busy this whole next week, but maybe the week after that, I might try it. And if people come on, they come on. And I also thought, if it's just me and one other, I don't care. If it's me and 4 others or 7 others, I don't care. I just want a bit of a number cut off just so you can have the chats a bit easy and everyone can get a word in. Those Pajeros, I reckon, were probably one of the best. Oh, the old Mitsubishi Pajeros were pretty good too. They seem to go on forever. But those Pajeros, your model, yeah, they're pretty good. A lot of them get some high Ks out of them. I used to do well in the Dakar. Oh, or you could be a handy person to have in the chat every now and then, Ryan. If that's what you do all the time, you'd be an expert. No one won the lotto. It's gone up to 200 mil. So I had to get another ticket. Just leeching off mate Starling, come out camping in Victoria High Country, and we've had some fantastic weather this weekend. Perfect. Yeah, it can even we did a tag along to I was probably 5. Well, I could have been 6. I was pretty young anyway. We did a tag along 4-drive tour. Must have been roughly 10 vehicles in it. And it was in summer holidays, school holidays. And I remember we were... Can't remember exactly where we went because that's a long time ago and I was only little. But I remember we got sleep for about half an hour. And that was in the middle of summer. It was actually mostly cold then. Whereas I went last year at just after Easter and actually wasn't too cold. So there you go. You never know what weather you're going to get down there. I've been looking at other places to live just because it's so expensive here. Victoria seems to be a bit cheaper. And I thought, even if I was near the border, it's not too bad. I thought, geez, it'd be handy being a couple of hours from the high country. Because then you wouldn't have that big pressure of a big trip. You just go, I'm just going to go and do this section for a couple of days or whatever, and then back you go. Whereas if you go on a big trip, especially if you haven't done it before many times, you go and do the main things. Or if you miss something, it's just, a bit more stressful, I think. Whereas it'd be cool just to go there. Mate, me, Ros, Rafa, and Gidgey getting in Wednesday, Arvo. Not sure what that's in regards to. Must be talking to someone else. Yeah, would be good. Yeah, he seems to be doing pretty well. Like, obviously, it must be coming from the Stockton side of things because that's where all the shops are opening from, and he seems to be opening a few more. So he must be doing pretty well out of it, which I'm a little bit surprised at that it's doing well. Seems to be doing as well as what it is, because a lot of the things on the market are sort of, and every company's basically doing it, copy things. Yet the other brands are cheaper. So you sort of, I don't know, maybe it is better, but to me it sort of seems like you're paying a bit for the name on it, even though it seems the same as the other. I think I saw a video. I don't really watch or follow drifter stuff. I just had a look maybe a month or so ago just to see what they're up to. And I thought I heard him say that they're looking at closing the kitchen side of things, or something like that. Kitchens or drawers, something, just because it's costing too much to run. Whether he was talking shit or not, I don't know. But yeah, I found that one interesting. Bloody StreamYard's not updating with the comments as I go, so I'm miles behind. Ed got one of the chopping boards. Yeah, it's really good. I still haven't properly. I use mine, but I use it as a display only. I'm not game enough to use it as an actual chopping board yet. Singleton in the Hunter Valley. Coal mines and wine. Two things that I have nothing to do with except for getting all the coal dust. It's terrible, the coal dust here. Like, you could clean something and then within a few days it's dusty and it just looks like dust, and you wipe it and it's black. I'm thinking, that's going in our lungs all the time. I'm sure there's going to be a big problem down the track. I'm assuming that's in regards to your rooftop tent. And yeah, like it would be adding a bit. I would imagine it'd have to add at least they're 15% to your fuel economy because they're quite high as well, those ones. It's one thing to you see some like some of the slimmer ones, and if you put them, if you've got it, say dual cab ute or single cab ute, you can put it on the rack, and if you have a slightly lower rack, it ends up similar to the roof. So that can be a bit of a pro. Thanks, Reddit Chef. It's always good to have people, and that's what's good about this community. Everyone's always willing to help. Like, what was it the other couple of weeks back? I had like 5 people within 24 hours reach out to me, and that was pretty cool. I was like, and it's funny, just having people actually reach out, and even if just saying, hey, how you going, or something like that, you get an instant buzz, and you feel a bit better already. I guess it's that whole that you're not alone type thing. Too hot in Queensland. Too friggin' hot down here at the moment. Bloody ridiculous. But then we're supposed to be getting cooler weather next week. And so whether that's the last of the heat wave or not, hope so. I don't mind a bit of heat, but especially with things so dry at the moment, getting 42, 43. Like today was 43 with hot winds. I saw there was quite a few trees, gum trees, dropping their limbs. The roads are shit here. Take away the heat and fix the roads, and Queensland be so much better. Yeah, the roads up there really are shit. They're shit down here because we've had 2 years of we had 1 year of bad drought, then we had 2 years of everything was wet all the time, so the roads just suffered, and now we're back to heat, so everything's contracting, expanding. So our roads are real shit at the moment. They're just starting to get into them, but they're still better than Queensland roads. I did look at moving up to Queensland just because house prices are so much cheaper. Obviously haven't committed to that one yet. We'll leave that one there, Jack. A walk-up caravan. Correct. I do live in Tassie. Yep. So 43 in Tassie. What's all this shit about? Ed's off. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your trip. I know you're going to have a good one down there. Yeah, Phil, I reckon even one of those Bunnings ones, I think they're like 250 kilos or something, and they're like 100. Like I think it's Gorilla brand. That'd be perfect. Just put it on some pulleys so it comes to the center. Easy. Your latest clip was a bloody funny, mate. It was bloody funny. Yeah, thanks, Buck, and thanks for your input on that one too. That was my dogs are going off. That was my getting away and trying to de-stress, and I thought, oh, what's better than going out and trying to make others maybe have a laugh. I had a bit of a giggle as well watching some of them when I was doing the most of the time there wasn't people around, and I haven't really done videos with people watching except for on my other channel, but you're all subscribed to that one anyway. Thank you for your monthly input on that one. But there, so this one, there was a family. There was hardly anyone there. There was 2 other camping groups, and one was a family of 4, 2 little kids. And I saw them just go down the walking track, and thought, oh, you beauty! Now's the chance. I've got the whole place to myself. And I started it and had my back to the walking track, which was like 40 meters behind me. And I was being a dickhead naturally, and then I see. Because I had on the camera, I had the screen, so it's facing me, so I sort of know where I'm at. And then I saw these beanies or whatever it was, bright clothing coming, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I like turned around, and there they were. I'm like, dickhead. Anyway, it would have been different if I was just doing like a serious or talking about a place sort of one, but because I was acting like a bigger dickhead than normal. And they came over, and I'm like, oh, how am I going to explain this one And it was just as I had eaten the cream bun thing, and I had cream all over here. And I turned over, and then looking at this, and I'm like, how am I going to explain this one? Anyway, they were pretty understanding, which was good, but they would be like, oh, okay. Anyway, they kept clear of me for the rest of the night, so I guess that's one way to keep people away from you, just act like a dickhead. If you move here, you have to drink 4X. No, VB. VB, or I've tried the 4X, or the 4Y. You know, not bad, but VB's where it's at. You just can't beat it. Thanks, Terry, and thanks for your input as well. I'm just gonna let my scruffs back in. Yeah, I was pretty happy that, because obviously you never know how people might take being impersonated, ripped off, or whatever, but all but one took it really well, so that was good. Oh, he doesn't want to come in. And that was the point of it too, was I only chose people that I had, or not that I had met, because there's a couple that I hadn't met, but I only chose people that I respected. So it's a bit like taking the piss out of your mate sort of thing. So anyway, I had fun making it and come up with a few of the ideas. Not everything from the original video went on, but yeah, I'm glad that some people got a laugh out of it. If one person enjoys it, one of my videos, then it's worth it. That's what I think anyway. Yes, Terry, you are Batman. Good old Batman and Robin. You just missed out, Phil. Yeah, well, I reckon that's the go. We used to do something similar with our kayaks, but much lighter. You just put it on a pulley with a rope, but still made it easy and it gets it out of the way. I guess heat won't be an issue if it's up near the roof. I don't quite know yourself. Jenny, we watched that clip. It was a winner. So funny. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, thanks to everyone who watched it and commented. And yeah, I appreciate people taking the time. Bogan, 100%. That's the voice I was trying to put on. A bit of a Bogan voice. I tell you what, because that was when I did that, is when it was heaps humid. And that hat, because I wore that friggin' hat everywhere, it was gross as by the time I finished. I got back and it was sitting, because I unpacked the car at Dad's place. And it must have been sitting on top of a box that I brought in. And because I had diddly donk written on it. And I thought, Dad's got no idea what that all means. And he'd be like, what the hell? So anyway, I quickly shoved it down the bottom of the box. And I thought, I've got to get that out and clean it. Give it a good wash. Yeah, you don't need one that big. The other thing you need to, I was about to say, well, you could use it for other things as well later on if you had heavier things, but your shed might not be up to lifting heavy things like that, whereas up to 100 kilos, you'll be right. Now, I don't think we've had a bit of an update about the event for a little while, Terry. How's your song list going for your DJing? Any requests yet? King Chrome makes a 150. That would be perfect. I'm going to see if anyone has stock. Yeah, you don't need anything too crazy. It's just pretty simple, really. 150 should be good enough. What is the weight on it? 80 kilos? It'd be a bit more than that, I reckon, with you, because it's got the winch thing in it too. Update video coming soon. Oh, I tell you what, must have been before I went away, and I was watching when I filmed that last video, and I was watching other people's videos just because I was writing down a few ideas of how to take the piss out of them, and I was watching the Legends for Charity update. There's been a few videos, but it was one of the ones where we had the bloopers and Terry down on the beach with his news reporting. That is just gold in every single way. From the way he's dressed to the hair and the microphone that's not even plugged in to the location. It was so good. Only 73 kilos. That's pretty good. That's not really much heavier than the other ones. I just thought it might be because they look bulkier. Might be a bit heavy, but that's all right. Robin, need to do our skit to take the piss out of you. Go for it. Honestly, there's not much that can really get to me or annoy me. Because I naturally, teaching in a high school, you cop it all the time. And a lot of the time you got to, because I say this to, as far as respect and everything goes with kids, it's heaps far gone. Most kids don't have respect and manners and the way they talk. And no one, society's too messed up to do much about it. Anyway, so naturally, being a ranger with this amazing hairline, I cop it. But you've got to read between the lines when people are giving out shit. And this is mainly kids now I'm talking about, teenagers. And that one thing I've realised, even though it's still really not okay, but sometimes kids give you shit when they wouldn't to other teachers because they actually do respect you. It's that banner thing. Some kids definitely take it too far, and then I just pull them aside and I tell them, about what's funny, where's the point that we stop, and it's too much to keep going. And I give it back to them. It's like, look, I'm a ringer with this amazing hairline. There's not much that people can say where I go, oh, actually, I haven't heard that one before. So, yeah, actually, it's one thing I think is actually quite good about Australia is the banner and taking the piss. Obviously, people are getting more and more can't do it, which is fine. That's up to them. But, yeah, it's one thing that I still really like. It's one thing I used to, because I still play cricket every now and then on weekends, and it used to be really good. I reckon pre-COVID, and even on the opposite teams, you'd take it, but it was all funny most of the time. Whereas now, most of the time people say something and it just turns into they want to fight. It's really, dude, it's just a joke. Anyway, catch up on comment time. Jeez, I've already been talking shit for 50 minutes. Easy to do, isn't it? Especially when you've got all these legends on. Yeah, bloody funny. Not one of the clips made it to the final cut. There's a few clips, that I cut out, but for different reasons. One person had an issue with one and had a bit of a dig at me about it, which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's a them problem. So I could have kept it up, but I thought, no, still out of respect that I took it down. There's a couple others for different reasons as well. Anyway, it still ended up long enough. It was a pain in the ass to go through and edit and upload. It took forever. Still enjoyed it though. Okay, so you got, the awning. Yeah, so you're getting up in, it's over 100 kilos then, isn't it? 110. Yeah, and that's what I reckon. If you can't laugh at yourself. And see, that's the thing that most of the time I found growing up is I'd beat, not that I got bullied or anything, but obviously being a ginger, people have a go. And I'd beat it. I used to get to the point where I'm like, do you know what? If you can actually come up with something good job. I'll laugh at that. But most of the time they come up with shit that someone else has said that's not even that funny. I'm like, dude. So I used to come up with my own ones and rip myself off just because they were funnier than what they come up with. I guess I had more time to think about. I was waiting for Gitchy last night to come out and do the news report. Yeah. I know it was what happened was a shit situation for him, but I reckon it could be one of those blessing in disguises for him. Not everything's obviously going to be good out of it. And he's sort of losing his cat in a way. Yeah, I think it'd be good for him up there. Change the scenery, get out of the... I don't know where he was in Brisbane, but I don't know. I think being in the city too long, I know it would do my head in. It's nice to get... Even though Airlie Beaches probably has its moments getting quite busy and a lot busier than what it used to be, but wouldn't be like living in a city. Shoulder press it off, Phil. Could you imagine him and Lukey Reed in there, shoulder pressing it off? They'd get the giggles halfway through and drop it on someone's foot. Yeah, it's a fine line between sarcasm and wit. Yeah. And see, that's what I actually, one thing I like about jokes and everything is that, like the good ones, and if you watch, like some comedians I can't stand at all, but there are some I'm like, that was pretty damn clever to come up with. And that's the humor that I like. I like all humor, but that's the one that I really like because I'm like, damn, that's smart coming up with that. I haven't got an Eddie Munster. Great, they'll start now. No, they usually just stick to the usual ringer ones, but yeah, I don't. The only one thing I can't stand is if a kid says you're a pedophile or something like that. That one shits me up the wall because there's nothing funny about that. Or like you go and help a student, and like because I teach timber and sometimes metal and D&T, those subjects, and so some lessons you go around and you help everyone a bit, and then there'll be a few lessons where like, no, I'm helping just these three, maybe because of where they're up to, maybe they missed out on something or they've been extra respectful. So I'm like, do you know what? You stood there and waited a lot last lesson for whatever reason. I'm actually now, because you've done the right thing, I'm going to take my time to help you rather than go and deal with someone's behaviour. I'm like, no, that's not right that you miss out on doing your job just because someone's been a dickhead in the corner. So I'll go and help them. And then if you go, you're a pedo, and all that sort of stuff. But I can't stand that shit because there's been a few cases where they say that, and obviously it's not true, but I'm sure there's a case somewhere where it's true. But there's been teachers that I know where they will say that and they'll be a prick of a kid and then they'll run with it and they'll come up with this rumor or whatever just to mess with the teacher. And as soon as an accusation like that is ever had, regardless of whether any truth or not behind it, you're off. You're on basic, kind of like suspension type thing until it's sorted. And most of the time it comes back obviously not true and the kid was doing the wrong thing, coming up with crap. They get barely any consequence, but that always sticks with you. And so I've seen a few teachers where they've just either quit or had to leave schools. It's just crap. No, I'll go off on a tangent and start venting too much if I go down that path. Yeah, Terry and Robin, you're great. And see, good Aussie humour. You understood what it was about. Block and tackle, yeah, that's an easy way to do it, isn't it, Jack? A little bit slower, and yes, you actually have to do the whole thing, but probably a bit more reliable as well. Now it's out of class and dressing down. Yeah. I'm really tempted to do a bit of it because, like, teachers do cop a lot of shit, and a lot of people say, because on the media and that, they'll say, "Oh, why aren't teachers doing this and that?" It's like, and I can only speak from what I have seen and whatever, but I'd love to give a bit more truth to the matter of what we can and can't do. It's a bit like this is me going down that rabbit warren now, but it's a bit like everything in society with the youth at the moment. Youth can do whatever they want and get away with it with pretty much no consequence, yet adults, it seems, or people trying to do the right thing just seem to always come off second best. So really, you can't touch a kid or whatever, unless it's the only time you can ever touch a student, like physically, like in an aggressive manner type, is if it's for their safety or someone else's safety. So, for example, if they were about to step in front of a bus and you full on grabbed them and yanked them back, and let's say that you put on the ground, you pulled them back and you dislocated their shoulder or something, you can't really get in trouble because the common sense look like in that circumstance, you're fine. They can still try and everything. But yeah, technically you're not supposed to even have them outside of the classroom. Send them out. I do it. If it's safety, I've had a kid, because we've got different rules, especially with all the power tools. I've had times where I'll send them out. I'm like, I don't care if I get in trouble for you being outside the room. I'd sooner you be out there than in here throwing a chisel around or something stupid like that. I had one kid, not in my class at the time. I was on the drop saw. It was a compound slide drop saw. And I was doing kids' projects. And when you're there, you're fully concentrated on what you're doing. You have to be. And a kid had the roller door up because it was hot. A kid who was out of class walked past, threw a water bomb straight and hit the machine just as I had it cutting down. Did he get a consequence? No. Not for that. Anyway, I need to stop, otherwise I get too cranky about all that stuff. Yeah, so you actually would, Buck. You would have been with them, and yeah, it's disgusting. It's just, I can't stand when people call me or someone else that. That's the one thing that really gets to me. I think partly because it's just words and they're just joking around, but it can be such a serious thing. And that's the worst rumor basically to go around. Can't lift anything up above my shoulders. We have a plan on how to mount the electric winch. No good. At least you can go electric winch and it won't be too expensive. Let's see. I'll go an hour 20 and then I'll wrap up. My voice is starting to get a bit croaky now. It's very hard today being a male teacher because of all the bullshit. There's so many rules and regulations. That's why you don't see any male teachers in childcare anymore. So I used to be primary, and part of the reason I changed to secondary or high school is the subjects. But I got sick of being either the only male or there was one other male in the school. So you didn't really have a lot of people to be good friends with. It meant that whenever there was anything male related, you were it. Most of the time you got put on year 5, 6 because that's where they needed the males the most, which was crap. You never really got a chance to do the other ones. There was something else. One thing that used to bother me a little bit about being a male teacher, especially in primary school, is there were certain things, like this is an example, so to speak, but it generalizes everything, okay? So if there was an issue in the boys' toilet, a male teacher or a female teacher can go in. If there was an issue in the female toilet, only a female could go in. And many times, not that I wanted to go in or anything like that, but it was told many times, oh, you can't do that because you're a male. I'm thinking, hang on a second. So you can do this because you're a female, but I can't, like females can do everything, but males can't. And there's plenty of other examples as well. That one's just a very easy one to understand. And I just thought, that's bullshit. I just hate like the fact that you can't do that, but we can. And because you're a minority, you get isolated then. But yes, it would explain. There's lots of reasons why there's not many males in teaching. There's not many teachers are a primary income. That's one big one. I'm just going to quickly go through the comments. I'll get on a bit of a rant, then I forget there's comments. The languages is crazy. And do you know what? Like the high school I went to not all that long ago. And I got suspended once for interrupt or disturbing the class. didn't swear or anything for disturbing the class during roll call. Whereas now, swearing is just everywhere. And kids, a lot of the time, they actually don't really realize they're swearing. It's just that's how they talk now. So it's tricky in a way to. It's one of those ones again. You need to read between the lines. Do they really mean that, or like it's different if they just say, "If it's hot today," okay. Obviously, still shouldn't be saying it, but because it's not really directed at anyone, it doesn't tend to matter as much. But whereas if they say you F off, then it's different. Otherwise, we'd have every kid the whole time. Society's definitely dropped the ball big time. It's gotten out of control really quick. Not getting any better anytime soon. And see, that's what there's no I can't think of the word, but like there's no responsibility or full understanding of what they're saying. I'll tell one more example that gets to me big time is so obviously racism is one of those bigger issues, and there's a lot of campaigns and things being put into place, whatever, to reduce racism. Yes, we all know it will never completely go away, and no, it is not just racism towards one race. Okay, for example, it's not just towards people with darker skin. Okay, it's towards everyone. I've had racism for being white in appearance. But one thing that really gets to me and there doesn't seem to be consequences really for this, is the N word, which we should all know what that one is, has crept into society really big. We all, growing up, we would have all known, well, I don't know, this is my generation I'm talking about. We knew of the word. Yes, we saw it in a few movies, whatever. We never said that word. It never even would have crossed our mind to say that word. It just wasn't in our vocabulary. Now, that word is used almost as much as the F word in conversations. And unfortunately, most of the people who are using the N word, if someone was to say that to them, it would obviously be very racist, if you know what I mean. But the problem, part of the problem is them saying that is almost making it okay to be said, which it's still not, because the other thing you need to think about, even though they might say, well, I'm of darker skin, therefore I can say it. But there's other people around here who might take offense to that. And that one really shits me. But it's where do you start? There are so many problems. And I think where I am is probably quite fortunate compared to most places. I used to live and teach out west, which like rural west. And it's pretty that's rough. I could only imagine what Townsville would be like. And it's funny to say that because I've been through there many years ago, and growing up, you always thought Townsville was like a big, nice place. It's a big city. Sounds terrible. You couldn't pay me to live there by the sounds of it. All right, another catch up. 10 minutes to go. Yeah, parents. I've got my own opinions on parents. I've got to be a little bit careful what I say technically, because it can come back to get me in trouble. But as long as I don't really say who I work for, I should be right. And I'm not giving away names. You got a plan there, Phil, of what you're doing, which is good. Just need to get your winch. Unfortunately, it seems it's never just one apple, it's a dozen apples. It's a dozen apples to 2 dozen trees. Crazy. If anyone swear when I went to school, we got the cane across the knuckles. I do think we obviously need to be progressive in what we are doing and studying and everything, but I think we need to start reflecting on the past a bit and what worked. Oh, I'm not saying bring back the cane because that's never going to happen, but there's other things that did work. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel and go to what's proven. Reinvent the wheel. Well, invent the wheel when it's new territory, not old stuff. Crims were also tough until you got in their cell out of camera range. They all of a sudden changed the attitude. Kids would be the same. I heard on the radio the other day, which surprised me. It was some jail correction facility, whatever, for adult males in New South Wales. I can't remember where it was. They said that they were only at like half capacity. And I think they said they would have to start looking at no one would be losing their jobs, but reduced hours. And it was safe. It was something like this. It could hold 800 and they only had 400 inmates or something like that. And they said there was other prisons or whatever around that were like that. I thought they must be overpopulated, and that must be part of the reason why they're not putting these bastards away as much and keep giving them cautions. And it sucks because the cops, their hands are tied too. How bullshit is it that people who are in, like at schools, teachers should have the power, they don't. Out there, police should have the power, they don't. And everyone knows this. How does it get this shit so quickly? Most of them too are in groups. That's one thing that's really started. Gangs. We never had, when I was at school, you had groups of friendship groups. Now it's different though. Now it's gangs. So most of the time in high school, I don't know, I'd like to know from what you guys, I know I'm behind in the comments here. I'd like to know from your generations, but when I was at high school, most groups were within their year. I was at a bigger high school too, but we still knew people from other years. We still hung out with them, dated them, all that sort of stuff. But if we did, it used to mainly be like a year above, year below, like sort of thing. But most of the time, we're in groups of ourselves. Some were all boys, some were all girls, some were mixed. Whereas now, it's the older ones getting the younger ones being gangs. We're turning to America in every single which way, almost, it seems. Yeah. So I'm about 5 minutes behind. Yeah, 100%. That's from TikTok, watching things. But you listen, you probably don't, but if you listen to any or many songs now that are popular within the last few years, that word is in there everywhere. And probably, it would be, everyone that sings about it would probably be like an African-American descent type, along those lines. And then they're using it. I'm like, well, as soon as you start using that, you're really making it okay for others to say it. And it's just why do you need to use that word? Oh, Mount Isa. That'd be interesting. I reckon it would have been. Always heard it's pretty rough out there. Captain Cook, 30 times a day. I used to, when I went out west, when I first started my first day, I went into a year 2 class. And it was a 95 or 97% Aboriginal school. Anyway, obviously we all know that you can be of Aboriginal, Torres Strait, I don't know about Torres Strait, but at least Aboriginal descent. Is right? Yeah. And you could basically look like me. You have white skin. So you can't just assume that I am or not Aboriginal. Anyway, this kid, as soon as I came in, he's pointed at me like this, goes, white fella, black fella. I said, well, I was a bit caught off guard. And this was at a time, like, white fella, black fella is kind of, it's not a racist way of speaking, or at least it wasn't then and out there. Like, that's just, anyway. And I said, oh, white fella, because I wasn't going to lie about it. And he went, pfft. So he no respect. Whereas there was 4 of us teachers started at one time. There was myself, 2 females who were both white fella, and there was one who was Aboriginal. And the one who was Aboriginal who got a lot of respect from him. I don't know. I really don't care what race you are or anything like that. Judge a person by their character. Morgan Freeman actually had an interesting thing. I think it was Morgan Freeman. He said, the sooner we... There's something along these lines. The sooner we stop talking about race, the sooner we'll stop having racism. I think there's some truth in that. Oh, well, there you go. So Townsville's the opposite. 400 has 800. Bugger to know how you do that. Need more prisons up there. That's where it seems to be, doesn't it, Jack? Once again, I know I'm behind in the comments, but it seems to always come back to the judge's side of things. But I've never heard someone say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard anyone say, oh, their hands are tied. So I'd like to know, because it's one of those, like, it's like it's the same in the school. If your principal's no good, then everything else fails. So if your top's no good, if that's the courts, then everyone else doesn't have power underneath and it all turns to shit. I'd like to know more about that and how things can change there. Surely the politicians can do something. It's all harmless fun now, though, isn't it? Look back. Was at the time. Wake up to yourself. I wonder if he called you a diddly donk. Yeah. C word definitely is in a lot. And the C word used to, if I had the C word, say this going back 10 years, if someone said that was like shit's getting real. But now it's just, and I don't know, like I guess in some ways a bit old fashioned, but because I do swear like a trooper, as you would have noticed. But hearing girls swear, especially young girls, I don't know. But they're saying it all the time. And it's not nice. There goes the blackboard rapper. Yeah, I agree. He's definitely worth listening to. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. Another one of my favorite ones is, this is bad because I don't even know. I've forgotten his name. Robin Williams was my all-time favorite in everything he did. He just bloody turned 90 and retired. Someone help me out there. English classes. Pretty sure he's English, unless he's Scottish. Distinctive voice. Was in the original Italian Job. Michael Caine. Yeah, he's one of my favourites too. Yep. It's happening. Same as teachers. Teachers, cops. There's no respect. There's no power. Why keep doing it then? You get treated like shit all the time. It probably sounds like we're whinging compared to something like there's harder jobs, no doubt. But I don't know. I would imagine if you're going to be police, there'd be some similarities. Same as going into, like, say, nursing or teaching, there's definitely that part of I want to make things better and doing it like there's a bit of a charity type side. Anyway, so it's when you get treated like shit all the time, there's only so much someone can take. There was I'll tell you a quick story, even though we're over an hour 20 and I need a refill. Oh, cherry's off. Thanks for being on, putting up with my crap for so long. So when I was living out west, we had a kid in year 6. He was 12 years old. He got bail 3 times. The first time he burnt down a house. The next time he burnt down 2 houses. This is all within 6 months too. And then the third time he burnt down 7 shops in the main street. And he still got bail. He's still at school. What the hell? I know he was 12, but it was just ridiculous. He broke into my house. Well, I woke up at 3 a.m. He was at the door, breaking in through the door. He got his hand through, and just as I turned the light on, just bullshit. Yeah, that's a much better job, isn't it? Actually feel like you're doing something good, and I don't know. Even though I work with animals, I feel like I should probably go and work with other animals. Always seems to be a bit kinder and more pleasant. That's why I'd sooner have dogs than kids. Worked. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean for us to go down that negative path, but it's just so frustrating. It's like every day it's in your... Oh, watching a YouTube video now. It's in your face, and it's just like, here we go again. Yeah, I'm going to hang off a little bit longer. And then part of my problem, Jenny, is what do I do? I know like there's because the teachers jump and ship all the time. And there's pages there for like, what do I do when I'm jump ship? And people find jobs and whatever, but I just don't know what I want to do. And the other problem is with teaching and as well as finding another job is the cost of everything. You can't just go and everyone says, oh, if you do a job you love, you never work a day. Well, that's fine if the job pays all right, but I can't go and just do what I really want to like what I love doing, and then I can't afford to live anywhere. At the moment, because I'm looking at getting a loan because I have family life circumstance, and all I can afford, even though I'm in my early 30s and have gone to uni and now a teacher, is really, at best, these are my 2 options. And this is in a rural regional town, not on the coast or Sydney. All I can afford is a townhouse or a unit, or I can get a 3 or 4 bedroom home if I rent it out. Whereas my parents, they got 10 acres out of town. This is obviously like 35 years ago, but I adjusted what they paid for it and their incomes to inflation to today, and that property with the house built on it is $350,000 if house prices didn't go, it just went with inflation. It's now worth 1.4. So things are about 3 to 4 times more expensive for the exact same thing. So I've worked out I'm lucky to, by 65, have a average 3 or 4 bedroom home in a regional town. Bullshit. So much. It's like, well, at what point do you? And that's with, you can cut back on things, but you can't save up quick enough to get there. So, but then if you go and rent is ridiculous. To get a 3 bedroom house here, you're starting at $600 a week. There are places here that are $950 a week. Once again, not in Sydney, not on the coast. There's plenty of things I can have a rant about. Might try and save some of my rants up for when there's someone else on as well. Lower age class, Landy, yeah. And that's it, isn't it? It's that fine line, isn't it, of cost of your health. It's like, well, the more I work and do this or get money, I can have these things which are good, but then I've got I'm starting to change now and think, well, fuck it all and just sell off your assets and live like a gypsy. I don't know. Simpler and less things better. It's a bit like when I was at the caravan park, and there's all those people with their big flash caravans and vehicles, which is great if you can afford that and that's what you want. But then there was this guy who had a Ford Escape with his little Viscount thing, probably like a 30 grand combined setup. He's out there doing what the others are doing, just, enjoying life. Stop waiting and saving up for things and just get out there and freaking do it. Even if you got a little car, one of the best examples, Trev Kelly. Look at his setup. Amazing. Gets out there, does everything that everyone else is doing. At least he's living life, doing things rather than just sitting there saving up for something, for a bigger setup. Seems like everywhere. I think it was it was New South Wales. It wasn't Queensland. They put this commitment to build so many more houses to reduce all that, and they're way behind. Wonder why? Oh, probably because they can't get tradies to do it because everyone's fully booked, and we've lost our tradies, and we don't have the workforce there for it. He is. Yep. I was just chatting to him before. I think he said he was on the whiskies or something. He's having a couple of drinks, which is good. I'm hoping to catch up with him a bit after the Goombara event. I think he's coming down south, and hopefully I'll be able to catch up with him a bit more then. Him and I actually camp next to each other. Yeah, we've already been practicing our fire dances. It's like the last 15 years, always wanted to buy a Triton. By the time you've got the money together, the four drives for 3,000 to 4,000 more than what they went for. Yeah. My little shitbox car, I've just got, as those people have seen the video clip, you know what I've got. I paid 6,500 for it with 92,000 Ks on it, say 4 years ago. It is now, except for it's probably not in the best condition, but it's now averaging 10 grand, even though it's got 155,000 Ks on it. It's just crazy. Like, I remember I always feel old when I say something like that. I remember getting a car this is from a used car dealership, 2,800 for a Honda Accord, 123,000 Ks, and one owner, an old man. Didn't really have many problems with it. It was a great car. Good luck getting anything under 5 grand that has rego and doesn't need heaps of work. That's what we did, sold a lot and lived like gypsies at the age you are now with 2 kids. Seems like there's a lot of people doing that. And that reminds me, who saw the Big Lap Oz Explorers? Anyway, you probably know the channel I'm talking about. They did a Q&A. I think Buck talked about it a bit the other day. I watched it yesterday and today. They did a Q&A, facts, truths about all that traveling. And they're saying about how so many more people are now going traveling, doing that because other people are doing it. But then what happens when you finish that? That's one of my concerns, because I thought about, like, I have enough money there, I could get like a little camper van or something and go and do all that. But then what do I do when I get back and things have gone up more and I don't have as much in my savings? I just feel like I'd be more screwed. Don't. It'd be good if I could just go and teach around the country as I go, but it can't. You can only teach in your state, which is dumb. Need to ramp up apprenticeships programs. Everyone was encouraged to do year 12 and uni. Absolute bullshit. Get a trade. Yeah, my biggest regret's doing uni. I tell kids all the time. I get funny looks from other teachers. I tell kids all the time, I said, forget uni. I said, unless you're really interested in it, what I usually do is when they get into year 10 and towards the end of year 10, because I'm teaching metal, timber, and that, like the prac subjects, the tradie subjects, so to speak. And I say to them, like, only go on to school if you are not sure what you want to do, or you might want to do something that requires year 12, higher, uni, etc. I said, otherwise, I said, go now. That's an extra 2 years of working. By the time you're 20, you're qualified. And then you'll start earning more money. That's 2 years that you can retire earlier or earn an extra 100 grand or something. And what usually happens, this is the reports that we get from the businesses, they prefer them around year 10, 16, rather than when they go on, because what happens if they go on and do year 11 and 12 and they're not really interested in school, they develop laziness. Whereas when they're 16, even if they're a bit lazy, they can snap them out of that. But if they're being sort of idle, being lazy for 2 years, going off partying, all that, then they try and do an apprenticeship, not as good. Obviously, that's not everyone, but that's just some. We do need to get more TAFE happening. TAFE used to be a huge thing. This is just New South Wales speaking. They've closed so many TAFE. We're fighting hard in the union. So I'm quite involved with union stuff, going to the conferences down in Sydney, etc. And obviously it's early child, like your preschools, primary, high school, and TAFEs are all in sort of the one. They've got segments. We're fighting hard to get TAFEs back up and running like they should be. And there's so many kids. I'm like, they could do a bridging thing instead of doing school in year 11, year 12, when they're not interested. Go and do TAFE so they're getting something. Or remember, TAFE used to have heaps of like after-hour courses. There's heaps of things I'd love to go and do at TAFE, but they just don't offer it anymore. Stupid government. Should never restrict that shit. Yeah, Big Oz Explorers, that's the one. Yeah, I used to like watching them. Bit more down to earth than the other ones, aren't they? There's only probably 3 caravan YouTube channels that I used to watch or do. Big Oz Explorers, who I still sort of watch, but they haven't been doing stuff. Trip in a Van, I've watched them for a couple of years. Haven't watched them really for a couple of years because they just talk shit. And then Cam Wild. I'm not huge into the family caravan thing, but it's just every now and then I find it interesting, especially when there's nothing on TV, or like tonight, we're doing shit in the cricket. So I'm actually it's good. I like to see the West Indies do well. So I don't care so much, but if it was India or England, we didn't worry about that, Lanny. We just did it, and shit changed for us, but we found a different way. Oh, that's good. It's good that it worked. I did 3 years trade tech and 3 years part-time in the day when I was 18. And on paper to start a bakery pastry shop. Cool. And that's it. I remember people saying to me, and I was dumb enough not to listen to them, your 20s are your money-making years. They definitely are. But at the time you think, no, I've got to go and do all this and do all that. It's like, no, I should have bloody knuckled down, saved, and then I'll be sitting back a bit better. When I went to uni, we called them colleges, which were a bit like your dorms or something similar in America, but everyone had their own room. It was probably 65-35, so 65% females, 35% males, something like that. It could have been 60-40, I don't know. But in teaching, my year had 256 in total for that year, 7 were male. So it obviously depends on what you're doing. Most of the males there did law, finance, or business, and health, like your doctor. There wasn't many others that were doing other degrees. Gosh. Comments. Do I encourage the boys to get an apprenticeship as a chippy? I just see what their interests are. If there's some that are really interested in it, I do, because like if you do construction and building, that's probably a pretty safe job to go into, and there's plenty of it going around. It's usually that, or it depends on what they're interested in. I encourage them to go to all of them. Like we don't do much with electronics, like electrician side of things. That's one that I definitely encourage them to go into. And there's jobs. You don't even have to fight for a job now, really. You just go and get it. Yeah, it's just deciding what I looked at doing an apprenticeship, even though I'd be in middle age, but I just can't afford. I know in the long run I'd end up on a lot more money, but for the next 4 years it would be friggin' hard. And I know I should be doing that, but I'm just like, it's just so expensive at the moment. I just don't want to give up 4 years now of not earning anything, which I know is the wrong attitude to have and everything, but I don't want to be 40 when I start earning money. Yeah. I usually don't get too caught up in the drama, but when there's things like that, I'm like, interesting. And there was someone, I'm not sure if they made a comment. I think they made a comment in their clip. And sorry, I know I'm behind in the things. About tripping a van. I think they said in one of their videos, they made a comment about staying in your own lane. But I just can't. I get that Trip and Van want to be the biggest and best, and they're partly probably protecting their income and way of life. But like they were really a competition for them. Yes, it's another family going out in a caravan doing this stuff. They're still, in my opinion, besides that, they're chalk and cheese in what they do. But how bullshit is that to be doing the things that they did to the Big Oz Explorers? Like, that's just pathetic. It's one of those things, though, as soon as they said, I'm like, you know what, I'm actually not surprised. They put off that arrogant vibe. So that's, yeah. I don't watch many big YouTubers. The only one that I actually watch that's over 100,000 is Andrew St. Pierre White. And then the next biggest one would probably be Cam Wild, who's at 50,000. Most of the people I watch would be under 20,000. I tell you who I do really like, though, is I don't mind Pete's channel from WA. Is it WA Camping? But what I love is his podcast. I don't know if anyone's come across them. They're on Spotify as well. Really good, especially if you're going for a drive. That's what got me thinking about doing the Legends community chat thing with people, just privately though. I thought, what a great idea. Yeah, they are good, but what I do, I do usually struggle with watching kids in. So in their ones, I struggle when the kids are talking, whatever, because I don't know. I'm still a bit. I don't know whether that's, and obviously it's their choice, but I'm not a big fan of kids being on YouTube. But the way they do it's quite good. Like they let them talk, but they don't dominate them. They don't carry on silly or try to act like a big YouTuber like some of the other families do. They still let them be kids. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes now, doing it full time. But yeah, they're just like obviously you know when they're pushing a product and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you get that, but they just seem more down to earth, not arrogant people like tripping a van. Turtle pies, Jack. I really need to get going too. I keep saying I don't actually have to get going, but I will. Thanks, Jack. See you again soon. I'd love to have you in one of those small group chats. Be good. Oh, okay, I'm back. MVM goes in and out. I thought it was only Starlink that did that. Everyman Chats, that's the one. Do you listen to it too, Wixie? I sometimes find I struggle listening to things that go like half an hour, and I struggle to listen to things after that. But I love listening to his things, and it comes back to, I think Buck said it. Everyone's got a story to tell, and it's true. I know there's a good example. Just within his own mates group, everyone's got a story to tell, and whether you relate to it or not, like it's the stories that they talk about, his mates, if it's happened to you or not, it's still interesting to listen to what other people, like them growing up, what it was like for them, whether they, went off camping or did other things. It was still cool. Yeah, and that's the problem, and that's where I think a lot of people have been sucked in, thinking, oh, life is so grand, going off traveling all the time, everything looks happy, and that everyone can be a big YouTuber, caravan, and family. Yeah, not the case. They were definitely probably one of the first and the biggest, and that's how they got so big as well. But yeah, and now as soon as they got, maybe it was when they got the boat, and they might have had like 2 Land Cruisers or something, and big caravan, big boat, and I thought, piss off. Who can afford to do that shit? I am not interested in that. It's a bit like the bloody All 4 Adventures, the 2 guys that go off in their big cruisers and they're towing like a 3-ton caravan and they're ruining the roads. I'm like, and everything has to be drama. Oh, getting bogged here, or helping someone out here. I can't stand that shit. That's what best thing about YouTube is finding the smaller channels where shit is real. None of that stage stuff. Except for it was like my video the other day. That's quite staged, but different. Little plug. Podcast take too long, I think. I can't sit there for 2 hours. Yeah, it's the only problem. There's like 20 minutes to half hour would be good. A bit like an interview with, there's a few apps and stuff where they do interviews for like 20 minutes, half hour is good. But yeah, an hour gets a bit much. I sort of start to tune out. You won't like my new clip. It goes for over an hour. There's not many people I binge watch, or like things I binge watch or put in the background, but Bucks, yours is one that I do, and it's good because they do go longer, that I can put it there on the background. Like I've always got a couple screens set up, so I'll put it on one screen and it'll be just there in the background while I'm doing search and stuff up online or whatever. Yeah, there's not many people that can do that, but that's one. Because you can just listen. It's almost like listening to a podcast. I might look over every now and then, or if you mention Rafa, I'll look over. But yeah, it's kind of like they are podcasts. Yeah. And Terry did a good one the other day too. His clip only went for like 9-10 minutes. What was it about? Might have been the filter thing, the Coke bottle filter. But he added a story time to it. Like I know you don't want that all the time, and not everyone loves that, but I really like that. A bit more interesting. And that's the biggest thing, isn't there? There's nothing on TV, so that's why you guys are probably on now. Not that I'm talking about much, and there's only a few left, but there's nothing on TV, so yeah. All right, hour 45. I might end it there. Thank you very much for everyone who's come along and who's joined in. The bedbug story is good. Let me know or send me a message on Facebook or comment on a video or this one if you're interested in the group chat. I would like to start off with just up to 8 people, just guys, just as a trial to see. But obviously, I definitely want to do a group chat with open to girls and guys. But yeah, no more than 8 to start off with. If you're interested, let me know. If you have any ideas about it, I'm all for it. But one thing I found, especially with Rochi and Anthony, because we're close by now and we chat all the time, we did a chat the other night just talking about camping. And before you know it, there was an hour gone, but it was great. Who cared about the time? We're just talking. So, and send me a message if you want to chat about anything or whatever. I'm pretty flexible and free. Awesome. All right, we've got a couple of people there. Well, I'll probably I might put the feelers out this week for it, and then maybe first week of February, somewhere in there, I'll look for doing it. I will probably do a night during the week, and then I might try a weekend just to see, because it's working around schedules, etc. 100% Robin. And look, as I said, I want to do it with have the guys and girls chat as well, just because I would love to have you in there. We've got Jenny, Susie was on before. This is purely just as a trial thing to start off with, and then people can give feedback. They might turn around and say, "Oh, look, maybe have a bit of a thing to talk about, or maybe 8's too many people," or something like that. Yeah, cool. Yes, Jenny, I am coming to the camp up next to Trev Kelly in Frilneck or something. So I will see you there. Once again, thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your weekend. Hopefully I'll see you on someone else's live feed over the weekend. All right, see you.